Hi guys, it's me again. What are we looking at here? Let's zoom out a little bit. We're looking at the coilovers. Coilovers are on it. Coilovers. When I had the setup bars on, I did all the alignment. It's all topped out. I mean, you can see that it's all topped out. Got the Viking shocks, double adjustable, compression and rebound. Front and back they're on. Exhaust is, the insulators are all on. Exhaust is all bolted in. Pulled the engine out. He's sitting right over here. I'll be pulling the cylinder heads off of him now. I don't anticipate putting him back in. I'm going to pull the heads off, finish the porting on the intake side. Measure the deck height. Get a deck height spec. Order up the pistons and rebuild kit. All the miscellaneous components, oil pump mount, shafter to the distributor, because I'm using that Magnum 360 Magnum distributor. Front end kit. The front end kit for this will be aluminum, and it'll take the water pump mounts here. It'll block off the two bottoms. It'll take those water pump mounts and move them out to a small block Chevy configuration. Of course, new timing chain and all that. And so the front will be there. I'll fab up all the mounts, but I clearly have, the bolt holes here. Interesting. Everything's 5/16, that's great. But I'll have the bolt holes here to build brackets off of. These cylinder heads are threaded up here too for the alternator brackets. Where I don't know where I'm going to put the accessories at this point, but I'm going to get the block into the machine shop, get it line board, get it decked. All of the machining done on it, and order out the pistons, board of course, cleaned up and ready to rock and roll. So that's forthcoming, along with wrapping plastic around this, putting it on the lift, just taping it around the perimeter, all the way around the car, putting her back up on the lift. That's why the plastic is laying in there, by the way. And then sandblasting the whole bottom, seam seal it, epoxy it, and put the pickup bed liner on the bottom side, and come on up to the top side that's already been blasted and lined. So I'll just scratch up the new metal on the top side and get that lined out. I don't know. I think penetrations from here forward will just be a dress. I'll if I have to do any penetrations or welding, I'll grind it around, an inch and a half around it, and dress it again. The nice thing about the box liner is it blends completely. There's no looking at it and saying, hey, this was dressed. As long as you do it within a shorter time period, there's no way of distinguishing between it being done 2, 3, 4 times, and it bonds to itself as well as it bonds to the metal. It's just a wonderful product. Everything's lined up properly. Everything sets nice. All the whole body mount holes line up. The exhaust pipes aren't touching anything. It just went together smooth and well. Now, considering that the frame is 36 inches wide in the back and 24 and a half on the front, I mean, there's not a lot to work with. It's 6 inches tall. Yeah, 6 inches tall, and everything is running along the frame, right? Very cognizant of the lowest point here, and keeping the oil pan and the trans pan, which 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 of an inch above this is good, but everything is pretty well confined within the frame on the low end. So very happy with that. It's sitting up on the wheel dollies, but and as a result, of course, it's high and it's fully extended on the suspension. But we can see that we've got about 4 inches of show on the frame below, where the apron will go for the the running boards. But if you can imagine it coming down, approximately 3 inches or so from there, from where it's sitting on the frame to the ride height, and then another 3 inches down on the ground. Well, the chassis sits 8 inches from the ground. And then you take the 4 on the apron there, and it's going to be low. So hopefully not that low, but my math was a little quick. Anyway, that's coming along great. Cleaned the shop up. I did wind up purchasing a mill, and so I cleaned out all the plasma cuts and this whole corner. Plan on hopefully putting the mill in that location right there. And then I did get a shear, 50-inch shear, so that's going to go either there or over here. And I'll probably have to put him on wheels and pull them out. That's what's sitting over here is the bed for the shear, for full-length sheets. I don't know that I would use that. The guy that I got it from said, hey, if you want it, you can take it. But the fact of the matter is, there's a boatload of good steel here. This is 3/16 angle sitting in here, C-channel, everything with minimal welds. So if I needed to cut a section out of it, I'd cut a section out of it. So, and I like having steel. So that's well, the jury's out on that. It does have the indexing rack and pinion assembly that goes on the front and collapses like it is there. I can mount that on the front very quickly and index sheets into it using that. So I, at this point, don't know exactly what the future of that holds, but I probably will put it on wheels, and we'll get her rolling. Drove the truck for the first time this year. Backed it out of the garage to clean the shop, and then drove it back in. But of course, it's a fuel injected 5-liter, 4.9 liter Ford 6, a factory Ford 6-cylinder. I rebuilt that engine with my son, and it runs just beautiful. Starts right up every time. So anyway, that's what we got. That's what we got going. Just cleaning up the shop and getting things ready to bring in the mill and start making a mess all over again. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Hey, guys. Okay, so this is what you're looking at. I got the 1-inch plates on top of the die. Let me get this off. Hold on. Thanks. So this is, I just built this brake die a while back. In this case, I have 2 top dies. One is just a continuous piece, and the other one is finger dies. Okay. So I built this bottom finger die piece section. This is in my Harbor Freight press, and I use that to in this case, make a box. The project I'm working on is the battery box. And so I did a drawing, and so this is open at the top to slip the battery in. It comes up another 5 inches, and I got a flange down here, and I two bends here. This goes into the tray because there's a 3-inch shelf, or it's recessed in the car 3 inches. We'll take a quick look at that. See, it's recessed in, and that is, I don't remember, almost 2 feet wide. I need 13 inches. I'm going 7 7/8 wide, so it'll accommodate pretty much any battery. And so these are the side pieces. They're rolled. They'll sit on like that. Need those 2 pieces. This is the end piece. This is the other end. This is the one that drops in. No, I bent those all in the brake, but I got to bend these down, and then I'll drill them and then bend them down. This will have a cut, a little cut right here. He'll go down, 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 down. Those will wrap into this section here and here. I'll drill holes, and I'm just gonna probably just TIG them. This will bend out right at this cut, and then that will go into the bottom of the tray. That's the depth of the tray, that 3 inches. So that'll house the battery, and then I'll make a top that'll just have a, instead of a double flange, it'll just have a single flange, and that'll go across here. So that's the current project. By the way that I designed that brake, you can see, I'm, got a pretty good spread on here. But what I did is I had a couple of laser cut pieces. There's a 1/2 by 1/2, all 1/2 inch material, 1/2 by 1. Okay, so that makes that depth, and then 1.5 and 1 make that depth. So basically I can create a stack like that I put in, and I can reduce my channel span. So it works really slick. So this is 1.5 inch angle, and I reduce it with an 1.5 by 1.5 leg, right? 1/2 inch material, 1.5 inches, 1, and then 1 and 1 and a 1/2 inch material. So this is a 1/2 by 1/2, and that brings that spread down, in this case, to 5/8 of an inch, approximately 5/8 of an inch. So that's how I do that, and I can get tighter and tighter bends with smaller and smaller radii. So that's what I'm doing today, and I should have the box built, tacked up, and then we'll move on to the lid. Now this will be drilled down through the flange all the way around, and just at strategic locations, so that will be removable. I can remove that from the car if I want to. And then the same thing with the top. I don't know if I'll do weld nuts with T's or what, but I also at some point got to figure out how I'm going to grab the sides of my battery too. Oh, I just thought about that. That might come up through here, and then I come down the side and go in. But in any regard, building the battery box. Well, would you look at that? Welded and worked on my corners. This does take a little bit of time, you got to get in there. These are all plug welded from the outside. Just drilled holes, 1/4 inch holes. Welded it up, finished the edge. Flanged the bottom. Bottom's flush on all of them, top's flush on everything. Of course, that piece, I could weld one in, but I couldn't achieve that in the let me think. I might have been able to in the brake, but I didn't. It's just not that critical. Then this is the step that goes down into the car. We're going to have to do a little acrobatics here. She's snug. There we go. We're all the way down. So all that'll line up with the inside. Battery will sit in there. There she is. And then my controls. I mean, maybe I flip that over. It really doesn't matter. Put it on that side, but then my relay bank and probably maybe even my PCM. I don't know. It all depends on how many wires I want to pull and what I have for space. But that'll fit back in there. And the seat will end right here, start to taper back. So got plenty of distance for seat. Got plenty, you know, I'm looking at it here, getting a good shot of the side. And that, of course, replaces the wood. The wood was, yeah, it lined up flush with the window, went down because I used the original mounts for the wood. So we're about, what, 7 inches, 8 inches in front of that support. The seat will taper back. I probably have a little package shelf in here. So it's going well. Going very well. Now for a lid. All right, I'm getting ready to make the top of the lid. You can see I've scribed my 1-inch mark all the way around the sheet. I cut this profile in because he's going to bend, well, in this case, up. This is bending up. That's bending down. That's my lip. But I want these to kiss right at the end, and then this will bend down. So this actually bends up, but this bends down, so it becomes a flange. It gets complicated. This is my bend up. This is my bend down. So you can see it's going to go and then so it'll go over the top. It'll come down on the inside dimension, go over the top, and go down. So it'll place itself on here. Actually, on the other side, this is upside down, but it'll follow that profile. Let's see if we can make it happen. We're going to do this in the Harbor Freight press with my homemade die. Look at that. It'll fit 20 inches, but I can make it happen. Unfortunately, I have one hand and not a whole bunch of ways of recording it, so I'll bend it up and I'll show you afterwards. All right, folks. Time for me to get ready for work, but that's the battery tray and the upper cover. You can see if I can zoom out a little bit. There we go. Get on the right piece. Comes off. There you have it. I just welded these flats. I have not formed any of this yet. So I've got some trimming to do and forming to do. But right now I've got the fundamental shape. I'm not totally satisfied with the radius. I mean, I'll take it, it's fine. But, you know, I'll have to clean up these corners and widen out that bead, out the dolly that down a little bit because I got these peaks on there. I couldn't get those to fit in the brake because the side brakes, I don't have enough depth here. Didn't even think about it, but I don't have enough depth to do a 2-inch pocket. So my finger dies really should be considerably longer, but they're not. And that's, you know, that's more of a bracket brake than anything else. But the nice thing is it fits right on. So we'll go from there. Came home from lunch today, or for lunch today, but I got to get back to work. And then I stitched all the sides. Maybe that much. She's pretty damn square for what I'm doing. There is going to be a rubber seal in it. That's not an excuse. I still need to work it. But I got it so close in a couple of taps in a few spots. So I got the sides, and what I am doing, for all intents and purposes, I'll bring these over, and then I'm going to round that. I just started, but I gotta go. And I welded the inside also, okay? And I pulled there and there, and there, and there. And I'll clean that up later, but that'll afford me the opportunity to blend this and then radius it down and then build that radius there. So, all going good. Sitting. That's just a slightly high corner. It's just a three-legged bitch. And I'll address that, but I mean, we're talking less than a 16th, less than a 32nd of an inch. I should get a feeler gauge out. Anyway, fact of the matter is, the lid is coming along a lot better than I expected for the challenge I had in building the box in the lathe for manually bending. I don't like how big those radiuses are, but as so long as I can visually keep them consistent, then when you flip the back seat, it'll be me. I'll be able to look at it and say, hey, I did a pretty damn good job on that. So, still moving along, still looking good, still proud of it, and we'll go from there. Here we go. So in the last video I welded these to start. Came back after lunch and welded these. And now I've ground them down. You got a little light. You can see the light curve out. It doesn't creep up. It doesn't creep up, but it creeps out just a little bit. Maybe I can clean those up just a little bit more. But put just a more gentle radius on there. I think I can do those a little bit better. Maybe I'll get on there with the DA and that'll help. But then I just welded that last half of an inch. And then I'll grind that. And then clean the inside. Come in and clean these. And we got the battery box done. Well, almost done. I mean, we got the basic construction, but then I'm going to identify where the battery cables are going to come through. And how they're going to run, you know, where the ground's going to be and how that's going to channel up the frame, up the firewall, up the transmission tunnel, pardon me, to the starter. So, pretty happy with it. Well, here we are. I have a battery in. This is an AGM battery. It's a 765 cold cranking amp battery. I positioned it in the middle so that my cable routing for my negative can, you know, either come down here or loop back and down and come out in the 3-inch well. Remember, there's a 3-inch well. It goes below this pad. And I'll come out, and this one will ground to the cross member on the frame right here. That one will come out, and he'll chase up the floor, up the transmission tunnel to the starter. If you recall, there's 2 3/4 right here. There's a pocket. I'll chase my wiring and other elements up there, and I'm going to cap it for protection. Then I this evening, I spent some time drawing out and making a paper pattern. The intent was to go into the ribs, to fit around the ribs in the battery, in this area here, and then fold these up, 2 drill holes to make slots, fold them up. The result is this. So I got my slots, I got my pattern, and this guy just simply will go right there and line up. I've been horsing around, but once it's screwed down, you can see I don't have all my screws in yet. I should mention that. Those screws are stainless steel, number 10s, 3, 2, 3 across that side. I put a 1/4-inch plate on the bottom to shore the floor up to make sure the floor was nice and flat, and ran 2 1/4-inch studs up from the bottom to support the floor. So that spans across from corner to corner, from the back side to the front side, a 1/4-inch strap, 1 inch wide, threaded as a nut, if you will, to support the floor. Then this piece sits on top of that, sandwiches the whole works together and sucks it down. That'll all be, again, then bolted all the way down, integral with the floor. The lid will be, this will all be powder coated. All the removable stuff will be powder coated. And then I'll line the inside of the lid with foam, just weather stripping foam. And then it'll fasten with rubber well nuts. They compress as you tighten, so you don't have to get them ungodly tight, but those will sit on there. 2 Phillips screws, and those will hold the lid down. I have just enough space right here to thread on, and I could actually do a welded nut in there and screw it in here, but you can get a screwdriver in here, which would make it easier. And this, of course, has some adjustability, so I can go up and down a little bit as I'm, if I purchase a battery, dimensionally it's a little bit different, that kind of stuff. But this battery is for an 2015, 2016 to 2019, 2020 F250. In this case, this is a brand new battery. I used to own one of those. I bought a battery for it and then wound up trading it off right afterwards, so I yanked the battery back out of it. It's only been used for, like, I think 1 start, actually, because I was interested in trading it and that deal came through. Anyway, the moral of the story is everything's in together. I do have some adjustment on this. Of course, I could cut those legs off if the battery were different down the road, or simply just fabricate another one. Anyway, got it lined up for powder coating tomorrow morning. Gonna run it over, get it done, and I am finished for the night. Have a good one. Well, just got it back from the powder coat. Thought I'd take a quick shot of it. It is raining outside, so there's some water on it. Just carried it in from the truck. It's all done. I stuck the well nuts in, and stainless steel washer. Those will sit right down on there. Just using your basic run-of-the-mill foam sealing tape. That'll keep any vibration out of it. And then the battery hold down. Turned out really good. Everything turned out really nice. So that goes in there and gets bolted on. So mini project complete. Motivates me to want to get the interior side of the floor finished with the box liner, and I'm thinking I may just go ahead and start on that. So I'm happy with it. It meets my expectations. That wraps up this mini segment of building the battery box. See you later.